My name's Tom Yamas. I work for NBC News, and I'm so honored to be here at South by Southwest. We have a really incredible conversation coming up about a really important show. I binged it over the last 3 days. I don't think there's anything on television quite like this. It is so authentic. It is so real. It's powerful. It's funny. It's emotional. And we're going to talk all about it in just a moment. I do want to bring up to the stage one of our first panelists. He's the host of this show. Some of you may know his name. So the show is called Leguizamo Does America. And here's the official release. It's a 6-part series produced by NBC News Studios and premiering on MSNBC April 16th. So put it on your calendars.
We Latin people are the oldest ethnic group in America, the largest ethnic group, and there's never been an English language show about our culture. So thank you. So what this show is about Latin exceptionalism and what we've survived in this country, the things that that it proves that being Latin is a superpower because our wealth has been stolen. We've been deported. We're the only group that's been deported. 2 million Latin people were deported in 1930 by Herbert Hoover, who were American citizens because of the Depression. Then they came at us at the Wetback Act in the 1950s, deported more American citizens. And we keep coming back and we keep rebuilding. And we had $2.8 trillion to the U.S. economy. If we were our own nation economy, we'd be the 5th largest economy in the world. And we get not much for it. We don't get our money's worth. And so this show shows our struggles, our pain, our joy, our dance, our music, our culture, artists, painters, dancers. What I've brought to American comedy and American story writing is to mix comedy with pain. Because that's the way my experience and Latin experience was. And I brought it into Mambo Mouth, Spicorama, and I will always blend it like comedy with serious pain. Colonialism, to me, is something that will always affect Latin culture. It will always affect how we see ourselves, our self-worth, and it all came from, the Spaniards came here and basically decimated our culture, our religion, our language, and we're the only people in the world whose culture, religion, and language has been destroyed, and we're still here.
What it takes to become John Leguizamo, because you never stop fighting.
Well, I am a complainer, and I like to complain. Because if you can't be a New Yorker and not complain, because then we're going to take away your license.
He's good at it.
Yeah, no, complaining is important, man. We got to complain. Yeah, I mean, when I started out, I was at NYU with Andrew McCarthy and D.B. Sweeney, my acting class in NYU. I was an A student, and I thought I was a good actor like them. And then they're going to 5 auditions a day, and I'm going to 1 audition every 5 months for a drug dealer. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm paying the same tuition, I'm studying, I'm as good as they are. And the casting breakdown was like Jim Crow in the 80s. It was like white actor, white lawyer, white doctor, white everything, and then you would ask your agent, can you just tell them to see me? Let me do my monologue. Maybe I can change their mind. They won't even see me. You couldn't even be seen. So I knew that, wait a minute, I was an idealistic young man. I thought meritocracy was a real thing. I thought talent would rise to the top. And thank God I finally learned that it's not true, that it's not real and it doesn't exist. And that's when I started to get a reality check for myself and go, wow, it's never going to happen for me. I have to figure out my own way. Because no matter how talented I am, no matter how well I write, no one's going to help me. So I started performing in tiny performance art spaces downtown. The last one at night at Gusto House, the last one at PS 122, because I was a Latin guy, so they didn't know what to do with me, so they would put me last, thinking, if everybody leaves, at least, there'll be somebody talking while they clean up. And I cleaned up. People stayed. They started laughing, and then they realized, white people wanted to see me. And then they put me a little earlier. Pretty soon I'm headlining. And then all of a sudden Latin people are finding me. When they put me on HBO, Latin people found me. And we found each other. And then when I started doing Spicorama, I was selling out everywhere I toured. And then, De Niro, Madonna are coming down to see this Latin guy tell his Latin stories about his Latin shit. and they loved it, And that's when I realized there's an audience out there, Latin audience, hungry to see themselves, and a white audience that loves great Latin storytelling, and black audience and an Asian story that will see me. And that gave me the power and continues to power me.
And you were saying when you were auditioning in those early days, people were just blatantly racist with you. They said nobody wants to watch Latinos succeeding. Nobody wants to watch a Latino hero.
Well,
They were blunt with you.
executives, when I would pitch them stories, they go, "That's great," and I go, "But we need more Latin stories." He goes, "Well, to tell you the truth, John, Latin people don't want to see Latin people." And I was like, "What? Really? We don't want to see ourselves? God, I don't feel that inside." And they would tell me things like, I'm pitching like a real feel-good movie. Well, Latinos don't want to see feel-good movies. Really? We just want to see depressing, dramatic bullshit? Yeah, I love that stuff too, and then they would tell me to my face, they would tell me their inner thoughts by accident. They would tell me that, we don't need to go after Latin audience because we already got their money. So, but now, I mean, obviously execs are much more savvy. They won't say that to your face. They'll probably think it, but they won't say it. Because, I mean, there's a lot of great things being done for optics in the business right now that we're going after the people of color. We're giving everybody an opportunity. We want diversity, but what are they greenlighting? What are they greenlighting? What are they greenlighting?
Yes.
When I was doing it for kids who look like me. I wanted them to feel seen. I mean, yeah, I just feel like we're 20% of the US population, less than 1% of the protagonists on film, less than 1% of the executives, less than 1% of the stories being told. We're 30% of the US box office, $4 billion we give to streaming. And the representation is just nil. It's not acceptable. It's not okay. And things have to change now. I've been told, give it time, but I'm already 4 decades in. When is it going to change? I can't keep waiting. My life's going to be over. Things got to change now, right now. We Latin people have to start getting a little more active. We got to start boycotting, protesting, picketing. Things have to change now. I think executives and studios are really trying to change. They're trying, but obviously there's still the gatekeepers, the decision makers don't look like us. So they're still a little resistant. I've been pitching stories for the last 4 years, period pieces about heroes, about great activists in the 1800s. Jovita Dar, this Latin woman in the late 1800s, early 1900s, who ran her own newspaper, who fought against lynching because Latin people, 6,000 of us were lynched and burned and set on fire in the United States from 1830 to 1930. Jim Crow laws were also for Latin people. And she fought, and I wanted to make her story as she fought to save Latin children from being lynched. And no studio said, "No, we don't do period pieces. We just don't do period pieces." I go, "Yeah, but I saw some period pieces. I saw a couple movies look like very period type stuff." I said, "Okay." So it's impossible, man. And there's a great story about Gil Bosquez, this Mexican ambassador saved 40,000 Jews in Vichy, France, in Nazi France. It took 20,000 and put them in one church and hit 20,000 in the other church, and then gave them asylum in Mexico. Saved 39,000 more Jews than Schindler. They won't do that story either because it's a Latin person and it's period, and there's millions of excuses that we can all attribute to whatever.
You want to keep educating Americans about Latinos, and so the question is,
and
why?
Latin people. I'm educating Latin people.
Yeah.
Didn't
No,
know,
it's true.
we don't know our own history. I didn't know any of the stuff that I was putting in Latin history more. And when I saw it, it was mind-blowing to understand that with the most decorated the most awarded soldiers in every battle that America's ever had. We fought 10,000 known Latino patriots fought in American Revolution. 20,000 of us fought in the Civil War. 120,000 of us fought in World War I. 500,000 of us fought in World War II. But you never see a movie about us. There was no Latin Band of Brothers. Where was he? Discovery Channel. Where's those stories? I mean, it's crazy. So yeah, I figured the only way to get everyone to hear the things that I want to hear was through humor. And in this one, it's with food, music, dance, some comedy. That's how we suck everybody in. if you watch the show, I want people to feel like they want to be Latin, that they're sorry that they're not Latin. That's what I'd like to do. And if somebody's trapped in an elevator, you know, and they don't have no interest in Latin culture, I don't know why I'm talking to them, but please like us. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Cesar Conde, the chairman of NBC, who is a Latin man who's given us this opportunity. His mission statement was 50% diversity, and it's true. He greenlit this show. Liz and Amanda, without their help, we need our allies, and they're my strongest allies, and they supported me, helped me get here, and I couldn't be here without them.
Guys, thank you so much for the time. Thank you for making this series.
Oh,
It really
thank
is so
you.
powerful. Thank you for all the honesty. And we thank you guys for showing up. Thank you to South by Southwest
Thank you,
as well.
thank you.